Hey y'all, this is Alex from the Rim Review. The Rim Review is a page that offers in-depth player analysis and gives nuance to the way you watch basketball. In this series, we're going to be looking over every single prospect in the upcoming NBA draft. In today's video, we're going to be looking at one of the most recent risers in this draft class, Ulrich Chomche, who plays over in Africa for the NBA Academy as well as the Rwanda Energy Group. When looking at Ulrich's game, there are a couple of things that we have to consider first on the offensive end. Firstly, he is extremely raw, so a lot of the strengths that I'm going to talk about in this video are things that you're kind of projecting from watching him. The first of which is he has really good size and he's physical and strong, which is great to see. At 6'11", being a physical, more muscular big allows him to show flashes of being really good. Next, he sets really hard screens. That's really good to see because it lets you know that he's an effort guy, he's competing, and it's just really good stuff. Additionally, he's shown flashes of maybe even being able to develop a little bit of a handle and put the ball on the floor. And finally, while he hasn't shot the best percentage, he actually has shot a pretty decent amount of threes, which leads you to believe that he might try to develop into a stretch five. However, I think that's more of a long-term 99th percentile outcome projection. There are some major weaknesses with Chomche's game. The first of which is, to be completely honest, he frequently will struggle to even catch the basketball. It's very clear that he's still learning the sport and his hands are definitely a little bit behind. I think when the NBA coaching, it can maybe get him to do is just work on honestly just catching the ball through traffic, which is something that seems simple, but it's definitely something he has to work on. As I mentioned earlier, he is extremely raw, which leads to him oftentimes being somewhat clueless as to where to be. I think he shows a really good feel for the game for how raw he is, but there's still a lot that he needs to work on. Finally, he definitely needs to learn how to utilize his size more. Oftentimes he'll catch the ball with a really good mismatch and won't use his size to score. Overall, a lot of what we're looking with Chomche is projections because of how raw he is when it comes to his playstyle. Before we fully dive deep into the film for Chomche, I want to highlight the fact that there is not that much film available when looking at him. A big reason why he has jumped so high so recently onto a lot of teams' boards is because he's played well in private workouts and has also had really good measurables. So these obviously aren't things that are going to be able to be easily broken down from this perspective. So we're going to look at the film that we do have and we're going to watch it and we're going to see flashes of what could be an NBA player. On this possession right here, Chomche is going to get the ball, he rebounds it right here, and then he showcases flashes of being able to have a handle as he pushes coast to coast. This is really nice to see, and while it is happening in a high school gym, if we can ignore this, seeing somebody who's almost 7 feet tall, and he's also only 18 years old, so he could grow more, being able to do this is really exciting. He also runs with a lot of pace, as we see right here. He runs really hard and has a great rim run and is always looking for the ball. While he doesn't finish it, I really love seeing his hustle. Look how hard he goes. He gets the ball and almost has a really nice dunk. He's also frequently showcased an ability to be a lob threat in transition. Right here, he runs hard again, creates separation, and has nice touch around the rim. This is a guard that he's outrunning in a transition situation, which is really exciting. On this next possession, Chomche is going to run in a trail spot and potentially look for a trail three. While this three doesn't go in, he's confident and it showcases it's something he wants to develop to his game. Unfortunately, Chomche frequently struggles with being honestly a little clueless on the basketball court. Right here, he's pushing and come on guys. There's two people. Just make this pass over here. It's an easy layup. Oh, no, we're not going to do that. It's a turnover. He's very raw, and there's a lot that he has to work on. Now, let's watch Chomche in the pick and roll. On this possession, Chomche is going to set a screen on the wing that is an empty baseline. I love how he does a really good job getting his butt and really just honestly using it to create really good separation. Love to see it. He runs really hard here, however, his hands are somewhat awkward. Part of this is honestly just a bad pass, but you still have to be ready to catch the basketball, and he does look a little uncomfortable near the rim here. On this next possession, Chomche is also going to set a screen, however this time it's at the top of the key. He twists, sets the screen with pace, and has a really nice lob opportunity. I love seeing him twist, and I love how quickly he gets out of the screen. What I don't love is that attempt at a dunk. Once again, he is very raw. I think I've already said this like 12 times. Right here, Chomche goes to set the screen, realizes that they're icing it, and pops for a 3. These are the types of things that are really exciting because if he develops a shot and it becomes more consistent, all of a sudden we're talking one of the highest upside players in this draft. Another aspect of Chomche's game that is really intriguing is his ability to get offensive rebounds. Right here, he showcases a really high leaping ability and a desire to get the basketball. Really good stuff, and I love seeing how hard he runs to get the ball here. On this next possession, Chomche comes in and gets a tough board and then just a highlight dunk. Both of these plays were really simple, but I do project him in the NBA to be some of those guys that gets multiple key offensive rebounds throughout the game. However, when we look at Chomche's post game, it's really non-existent. Right here, he has at least multiple inches on his man. However, he settles for an uncomfortable touch shot. It's very clear that he's still learning how to use his body, and it leads to a lot of soft looks. Right here, he gets the ball in the post, not with as much as an advantage as he had in the previous clip. However, he's clearly bothered by physicality, and look how far out he's pushed. When you're post up, first off, it starts way too close. You don't want to be posting almost nearly out at the 3-point line. But then when you take your touch shot, you don't want to be pushed this far. It's very clear that he's still trying to figure out how to use his size. Right here, he faces up. However, he doesn't do the best job protecting the basketball, and it leads to him spinning in the opposite direction. If you want him to score in the post, or if you want a prospect that's going to score in the post, I don't think Chomche is your guy, at least at this point. One thing that has scouts really excited are his flashes of being able to put the ball on the floor. In this possession, Chomche catches the ball out on the perimeter, makes a jab step, a quick move, and a really crafty inside hand finish. While it seems simple, seeing this movement from a 7-footer who's just barely turned 18 is very unique. Unfortunately, more often than not, his possessions look like this, where he dribbles the ball, struggles with physicality, and looks like me out there. His handle definitely needs to be tightened up, but it's very intriguing as a prospect. This clip is definitely older than the clip that we watched initially, and it's clear that he's grown a lot. Right here, he clearly struggled with the pressure, and it led to a turnover. On this possession, we're going to see him be ready and have a nice dump-off dunk. While there's nothing special about this, being in position and being physical is really good. I like him making that pass here and then being able to step in to a nice dunk. Just look at how quickly and smoothly he transitions. Really good stuff. On this possession, we're going to see Chomche showcase his potential ability to space the floor. Right here, he's hiding out in the perimeter, is ready to shoot, does a really good job relocating, catches the ball, and has a pretty decent looking release and a smooth looking shot. While it's not something he knocked down consistently, it's these glimpses that are going to get scouts excited to the point where they may draft him. Right here, he relocates and the shot looks good. Unfortunately, there are stretches where his shot does look a bit awkward. Right here, he's going to drift to the wing, catch the ball, and just can't knock it down. I think the consistency with his shot definitely needs to be worked on. For someone that shoots a decent amount of shots, he's shooting maybe about 30%. I don't even know if he's shooting that, but it is something that he likes to do. When looking at how he attacks closeouts, more often than not, it's going to be a straight line drive, and when you have his length, that makes sense. Right here, he catches the ball on the wing, pump fakes, and just a really simple, nice extended finish. Occasionally, he'll showcase a little more, and on this possession, we're actually going to see him go into a nice spin move basket. It's these flashes of being able to put the ball on the floor that are really exciting. Unfortunately, he still very much needs to learn how to use his size. Right here, he struggles and loses the ball and honestly just puts up a very awkward shot. I'd like to see him gain his balance, and if he jump stops here, this man is just going to fly by. I think there's a lot more that he could do and a lot more that he could learn, and a lot of that is going to come down to what system he's able to join. Chomche's defense has a lot of strengths that can be really exciting. The first of which is his rim protection. Chomche is an extremely good athlete, and at 6'11", he's able to protect the rim with the best of them. Secondly, and what I think is most intriguing, is he moves really well. He's had flashes where he's had to guard out on the perimeter, and I actually like his footwork. He slides aggressively and doesn't look as awkward as you would think an 18-year-old who's just learning how to play basketball would look. Finally, he has really good size, which allows him to be in the gaps and have nice length. And he also, when he has to come out of the gaps and close out, he does a really good job when it comes to closeout decision making. While he falls for some pump fakes, I think he falls for much less than the majority of the prospects in this class do. And just in general, he chops his feet and he just looks really fluid out there. He looks like a basketball player when you watch his feet, which is really exciting. When it comes to his weaknesses on the defensive end, there are stretches where he does remind you how new he is, and he is still learning where to be. I think his length helps him kind of get out of some of that. However, knowing where to be off the ball is not at nearly as high as a level as, let's say, his closeout decision making is. But I still think he's pretty decent when it comes to being in the gaps. When it comes to like the biggest weakness, I would definitely say it's his post physicality. At times he's out-muscled and struggles with more veteran bigs, and he's definitely going to have a learning curve when it comes to physical defense in the NBA. Now let's get into the film and watch Chomche on the defensive end. On this possession, he does a really good job being help side and protecting the rim. What I love seeing most importantly from him here is not necessarily the block, but look how vertical he is. You can draw a straight line, he keeps his hands up, and it's really good, fundamental help side defense. We're going to see something very similar here, where Chomche does a really good job protecting the rim in help side scenarios. Right here, he showcases a really good instinct to recognize that it's okay for him to leave his man and gamble and get this block. Really good stuff. Another thing that Chomche does at an extremely high level is knowing how to close out. Right here, Chomche comes in and is trying to protect, maybe fire. However, he closes out, initially gets maybe beat by a step. However, look how smoothly he moves and how he uses his length to protect the rim. Really good stuff, and seeing how quick a 7-footer can move like him is really exciting, and that's why scouts are really high on him, despite some of the major lacking areas of his game offensively. What I love about this is the fact that he doesn't fully blow by him. He keeps active hands, chops his feet, just really good. It's basic, but it's good, which is exciting to see. On this next possession, we're going to watch Chomche in a driving line situation. He picks up the ball here as he guards a guard on the perimeter. He stays in front of the guard, and what I really love is his instincts not to completely fly by when the guard stops here. While he does take a hop step, he does a good job staying in the play, and it's just truly impressive. Now let's watch him in the post, where on this possession, he does showcase a good ability to remain vertical, which is something that's exciting for him. Once again, he keeps his hands up, and verticality is always key with Chomche's game. Unfortunately, more often than not, Chomche gets beat in the post. Right here, as in guarding in an NBA Academy game, the ball is thrown into the post. Chomche is doing a really good job competing, which is exciting. However, once the ball is in the post, he's almost so worried about remaining vertical that he just gives up this change of direction really quickly. On this last clip, we're going to see Chomche in the pick and roll, which there was not much film of him in the pick and roll due to the limited film and the poor just tagging of clips in general in some of these leagues. So this is going to be the only clip we have, but we see a nice quick hedge. He stunts, he gets back. However, once he's in the post, he just gets completely outmatched. Overall, Chomche is a really exciting prospect. However, the film does leave you with a lot of questions. I think because there is such limited film, and a lot of the reasons why he's so hyped up is because of private workouts and his combine performances and measurements, I think you're just going to have to focus on the flashes that his film shows. And to me, I get really excited when I watch his driving line defense, how well he moves, his help side rim protection. I also love the fact that he sets really hard screens, because that lets me know he's a competitor and somebody that could potentially be a good part of your program. I also think scouts get really intrigued by the fact that he shot a lot of threes. Not necessarily that he made a lot, but it does make some people think that he might be able to develop a jump shot. And I also think those flashes of those coast-to-coast dribbles might be exciting, because he's 7 feet tall, so flashes are really all you need to show when you're that tall and can move like he can. I think when evaluating him as a prospect, I think you look at the flashes and it makes him a really high upside player. But when you look at the right now, he is nowhere near being able to even sniff, competing for an NBA team based on his current state. And honestly, I don't even know, if he would dominate the G League. He definitely wouldn't dominate. I don't even know if he would start at the current state. Well, all of that said, these flashes are really exciting. And with these measurements, a lot of teams actually have him mocked really high. A lot of mocks have him as a late first. I think he will probably fall to the second round just because of how far he still has to go. But I wouldn't be shocked if a team, let's say hypothetically Boston, for example, who really doesn't need to add that many more pieces. They're definitely not going to add a piece that helps them win a championship at the end of this draft class. So maybe they take a pick with him. Let's say they have the 30th pick. I would not be surprised at all if they take him, send him to the G League for probably 2 years, maybe even a little bit more, and all of a sudden you're getting back a really good player that can replace Robert Williams and can provide that more rim protection that they wanted, and he's a great rebounder, and those flashes are really good. I think from a ceiling perspective, Chomche can really do a lot. It's kind of hard to measure what he will end up being, but I could see him being a starting center at an NBA level, let's say in maybe 5 or 6 years, that maybe develops a shot and can stretch the floor. You don't know. If he puts everything together and develops a handle, we're talking an all-star level center. But I also think the more likely outcome, you're just getting a really solid center, maybe a backup big, somebody that just moves well and is exciting to have on your team. I do think his floor is, if he's drafted into just a really bad situation, could be someone that never does anything in the NBA, because if you're drafted to a bad organization, it's just that much harder for you. So I think a lot of Chomche's situation is going to impact him. I would love to see him go to Boston. I think that'd be a perfect fit. I also wouldn't mind seeing him go to Miami. And the reason I say that is because they just have such a great track record of developing players of his style, and I think it could be really intriguing. But overall, that's my take. I'd love to hear what your opinions are on Chomche in the comments. And I'll see you back again with another episode of The Rim Review.